The Enfield Poltergeist? An English nation was mystified by the story of a young girl being possessed by a demon inside her home. Many people deem the case a hoax, but others consider it one of the largest cases of supernatural activity ever seen. This is when strange voices, levitation, flying objects, furniture being tossed and more all took place. The story of Peggy Hodgson begins in 1977 when she heard sounds coming from her daughter's room in a quaint little home in Enfield, London. Her daughters, Margaret, 12, and Janet, 11, were cowering in the corner, terrified when she tried to tell them to stop playing rough. Janet, speaking on ITV in 2012, said, "We told our mom the chest of drawers was moving toward the bedroom door." "Oh, don't be silly," she replied. A seemingly invisible force then caused the drawers to move towards the door, almost as if a supernatural force were trying to imprison the girls. The dresser would not move when she tried to push back against it. Vic and Peggy Nottingham, who were living across the street, immediately offered assistance to the Hodgson family. Vic also heard strange noises coming from the house when he went to investigate. The Hodgsons called the police, but the officers concluded it was not a matter for the police, even though one mentioned watching a chair move across the room. In the family's opinion, that was just the beginning of what they would have to endure for nearly 18 months to come. In Los Angeles, Margaret told people, "We didn't understand what was going on. There were times when we couldn't believe what had really happened to us. The thought is frightening. The idea of being alone in the house did not appeal to us." When the strange incidents continued, Peggy decided to call a popular UK publication, the Daily Mirror, to come and investigate the supposed supernatural occurrences. Yet the house was silent for hours when the reporter arrived. Suddenly, something happened right before the reporter left. Upon returning home, the photographer was hit in the head by a Lego brick. Several days later, he still had the mark. Then Maurice Grossa stepped in, Janet said, according to the Daily Mail. Grossa was sent to look into the case by the Society for Psychical Research, SPR, which the Daily Mirror contacted for assistance. Grossa claims to have witnessed more than 2,000 incidents of supernatural activity during his stay at the house. "I remember furniture turning over, cups filled with water, fires igniting, voices, levitation," Janet said in an interview with ITV. "The most frightening encounter was when a curtain wrapped itself around my neck next to my bed." It was during his time in the house that the supposed poltergeist started speaking through Janet. Her voice would be deep and scratchy, and she would often claim to be the ghost of a man named Bill Wilkins, who died in the house years earlier. Janet reportedly experienced hours of talk from the ghost for hours at a time. A man by that name once lived in the home and died due to a hemorrhage while sitting in the living room. During that time, other paranormal researchers, including renowned demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren, visited the house. However, the Warrens publicly acknowledged that they believed the supernatural were responsible for the strange events that occurred inside the house, even though the film takes liberties with time and where they were in the case. Several people argued that the children were the perpetrators of the elaborate hoax, and that their demonic symptoms were fictions. Janet's gruff voice was questioned by two SPR experts, who later caught the children bending spoons themselves. Janet and her siblings admitted to fabricating a few events. "Oh yeah, once or twice, we faked it, just to see if Grossa and Playfair were going to catch us." According to the DM, they always did. Later, she said about 2% of the events in the house were fabricated. Though Janet and Margaret have moved past the traumatic time, the haunting stays with you. This is nearly 40 years after the traumatic event. It stays with you forever. Every step of the way, Margaret told people. "It's just like a death really, it gets a little bit easier as time goes on. But the fear and the memories of it and what happened never leaves you." If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to the Paranormal Portal.